大家好，我是维仁。我们今天来到的是美国外交关系协会举办的一场座谈会，这当中来的呢都是十分有来头的人物，就是马来西亚总理马哈蒂以及美国前外交官，也是美国的前国务院东亚太平洋事务助理国务卿 Christopher Hill 一起举行的一场对话。我们都知道呢，现在美国、马来西亚和中国之间的关系有些微妙，因为在马哈蒂第二度上任之后呢，跟美国之间的关系似乎是在这个外交上面是逐渐的修好，跟中国方面呢，其实在经贸上面也越来越紧密。所以在中美贸易战之中，也有人说马来西亚可能会成为这当中的一个获利者。以及呢，在这个华为的表态上面，马来西亚是选择不跟美国站在同一边，这当中之下是不是影响到了美国和马来西亚之间的关系呢？还有就是马来西亚和中国现在的合作，像是一带一路、东铁这些的，是怎么进行的呢？今天的会谈当中都进行了讨论。所以马哈蒂他说，其实他上台之后最重要的要务就是要重振马来西亚的经济，所以就说到了东铁和一带一路。他说我们目前真的没有钱，我们可以打的牌呢就是跟中国打好关系，希望呢可以在这样子的情况之下，让马来西亚从负债中走出。也讲到了跟东南亚国家的这个中南海的主权的这些纠纷和问题。他说，中国是画了很多饼，他们是宣称很多地方的主权都是属于他们的，但是实际上，如果你真的要通过这些海湾或是在这些小岛上面，上这些岛啊，其实中国都是睁一只眼闭一只眼。所以在这样的情况之下呢，跟这些东南亚其他的国家 ，Asian 的这些国家，大家是有一个目前。他认为是有个共识哦，就是只要大家不要太积极的去要把这个主权把它说非黑即白的话，其实这当中是有很多灰色地带。他认为在这个区域里面呢，保持和平也不是一件这么困难的事情。那就也说到了，在这个马来西亚目前是不是国家主义、民族主义的上升？他说，其实马来西亚一直是一个非常多元文化的一个国家，所以虽然说在目前的情况之下呢，还是在马来西亚的华裔是比较有钱的，马来西亚人，还有当地的原住民是属于比较穷困的一个情况，但是在目前他的领导之下呢，他认为，他们会给予适当族群适度的这个援助。他相信接下来呢，这个贫富差距以及这个 social economic level， 就是大家的经贸还有社会地位呢，可以在他带领之下慢慢可以达成一个平衡。还说到了在中国的维吾尔族人目前的情况，他说呢，他不认为把现在在马来西亚的这些维族人送回中国是一个人道之举，所以这当中讲了非常多跟中国有相关的议题。以下我们就来听一下今天的讨论内容。
So we know about some of the fiscal accounts, the problems you've had on fiscal accounts and inheriting far more debt, both government debt and I think some foreign debt as well.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, what's the economy looking like? I mean, America, for example, I think we're your number one investor right now, or soon to be.
The first thing we did was we tried to reduce the debt by cancelling or reducing the scope of some of the projects. That enabled us to save quite a lot of money. In the case of the East Coast Railway, we saved about 20 billion ringgit in terms of contract.
20 billion on the contract.
Billion ringgit.
Yeah.
That divided by 4.
Yeah. So $5 billion.
Yeah.
And this was the Chinese contract.
The
correct?
Chinese contract, yes.
So I wonder if you could explain to us how that worked. The Chinese, during your campaign, you signaled that you were not happy with the East Coast road project or the road contract. So when you came in, were the Chinese kind of expecting your phone call? Did you initiate contact with Xi Jinping and tell him we love?
No, I depended upon some people who are very close to them, familiar with them, and he would meet them. I would be very nice to the Chinese. I make a visit. I don't raise controversial issues, but
you put tariffs on them? No, I'm kidding. Right. So you kind of raise it as, hey, a mutual problem. We have a problem here.
Yeah, we have to show them that we are still their good friends,
Yeah.
their good trading partner. But this particular thing needs to be attended to, reduced in scope and in cost, because we don't have the money. We told them we don't have the money. We can't afford this. And I think they were, in the end, quite sympathetic. And the terms of the contracts and all that had got to be renegotiated because normally Chinese companies tend to bring their own workers, their own materials and all that for any project in anywhere that they do.
So, you mean if you go out on the East Coast to see this project, you're seeing a lot of Chinese construction workers out there working on this?
Yeah,
Is that-
initially yes,
Yeah.
quite a lot. No, not now.
Not now.
Not now. Now we have Malaysian contractors also participating.
I see.
That's one of the conditions
Yeah.
we asked.
Yeah. But altogether, as I understand, you took about 1/3 of the cost off of the project. And were the Chinese very quickly willing to do that? I mean, was it? Sounds like it went very easily. In which case, I'm wondering who negotiated it before that they're willing quickly to take 1/3 off.
We had a good negotiator, and he went to China, met the leaders. Of course, he has to explain that he was representing me.
Yeah.
I myself would not want to raise this issue when I go there.
Yeah.
And he was able to persuade and tell them, look, we just cannot afford this.
I see. So by the time you visited with the Chinese, a lot of this, how to put it, difficult conversation had already taken place. So you didn't want to be the great deal maker. You wanted to make sure it happened, but maybe you didn't need to be there the whole time. I wonder more broadly, because you have so much experience dealing with the Chinese, this Belt and Road Initiative, which has included ports in Sri Lanka, questions about does Sri Lanka even need those things, and then the Chinese have somehow claimed that if they're not going to get paid, they have to kind of take over these facilities. They have a right to use them. I wonder, can you speak to the Chinese motivation? Maybe partly it was to help you with your East Coast Road, but was there something more? Does it have a kind of notion that China has some right to be there, or is it strategic? Is it a function of excessive demand? I mean, excessive supply in their ministries? What's the motivation? Because you have such a better view of it than some of us do.
We are forced to because we just couldn't afford.
Yeah.
So we have to do something about it. I don't know about Sri Lanka. They accepted the Chinese proposal that Chinese take over the the area that they had developed. I suppose if Sri Lanka would try and negotiate, they might be able to get something out of it, but I don't know. That is their policy, their approach. Our approach is to save our finances. We cannot afford to build this very expensive railway line. So whether we like it or not, we had to go to the Chinese and appeal to them, point out that we are good trading partners, and in the end, I think they were persuaded that the best way out is to somewhat reduce the scope and reduce the cost.
And to stay, because that was the price of staying in.
Yeah.
I wonder if we could switch a little to the focus of, for decades, Southeast Asia has tried to act more closely together through, of course, the association, ASEAN. Mm-hmm. And you've seen ASEAN in its infancy. You've seen it now. I wonder if you could give us a kind of report card. How is ASEAN taking on big issues? Are they managing things? I mean, after all, if you put all those Southeast Asian countries together, we're talking 500 million people. We're talking a very serious part of the Asian GDP. Do you see ASEAN as something that can tell China, look, China, we love you, we welcome you, but we need to have a kind of sense of mutual respect on these issues?
We all realize that we had to deal with China jointly. because that would have given us more strength. But of course, China tries to deal with each ASEAN country separately. When a country becomes threatened, it has to make some noise, some protest. For example, the Chinese occupied Komodo Reef, and Komodo Reef belongs to the Philippines. The Philippines had to do something about it, although we are behind the Philippines, but we are not really strong enough to tell the Chinese, no, you shouldn't do this kind of thing. It's against international law or whatever. We also have claimed one island almost in the middle of the South China Sea. We have built an runway there for our planes, and we have even a small hotel there. But so far the Chinese have not disturbed us. They came there as tourists in a small island, but they have not tried to evict us in any way. So I think whereas the Chinese may make the claim, but they are not at the moment very aggressive. They would like to have Southeast Asia very supportive of China, because Southeast Asia is the testing ground for whatever they want to do.
Well, this is a somewhat brighter picture than we see in the U.S. because we see a lot of aggressiveness. You know, it's one thing to create facts on the ground, but they were actually creating the ground by putting dirt on atolls and beginning to build things where there was really ocean. But you're suggesting that this is more of their effort to say, this is ours, but we will not act on it. Our concern has been now they have the capability militarily to act on things that they may have claimed 100 years ago, but never had any ambitions to do something. So you're seeing it more on that traditional side, or are you worried about what I'm a little worried about with their capacities, military capacities?
In the past, they have not made that claim.
Yeah.
What we did was to create facts.
Yeah.
We built islands and we occupy these sandbars and all that and build it up into islands.
Yeah.
The Chinese have not disturbed us if we occupy first.
Yeah.
The Vietnamese occupied Cayman Island. We built an island there, but the Philippines went to Komodo Reef, occupied it for a short while, and then they evacuated, and then the Chinese came. So it's important to have something there in place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although they claim, but they are not yet at the stage where they wouldn't be rough on us.
I wanted to follow up on the earlier question and focus on the Uyghur Muslims of Xinjiang. And it's widely known that China has detained roughly 1 million Uyghur and other Turkic Muslims for so-called re-education, and among other things, pressing them to renounce Islam in favor of the Communist Party. And there's been wide outcry against that. In Geneva a couple months ago, about 25 governments denounced this. And so China orchestrated a counter-statement, saying they were wonderful toward the Muslims. And Malaysia, unlike many other members of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, refused to sign that letter. And so Malaysia has really maintained a sort of studied, at least public neutrality with respect to this. And I'm wondering, what pressure you have been under from the Chinese to embrace what they're doing against the Uyghurs, and second, what possibility is there for Malaysia to speak out more publicly against what's going on there?
Well, the fact is that some of the Uyghurs wanted to be independent, so they did take up arms and did something violent against the Chinese government. And the Chinese government, of course, mounted an operation to arrest these people, detain these people. Some of these people ran away. Some found their way to Malaysia. And we decided that sending them back to China would not be a good thing, because they are likely to be punished for what they have done. So we allowed them to escape to other countries. That's what we did. But at the same time, we are concerned, of course, about this huge number of Uyghur Muslims being detained. You want to detain 1 million people, you really need a lot of places. So whole areas, I suppose, would have been cordoned off was in some way so that these million people cannot very well rise or take up arms against the government. So we do send our people to go there. But when you go there, the Chinese showed that these people are very nice. They're very happy as they are. They think it's good to be re-educated and all that. But we don't know, in other places maybe there'll be, well, worse things happening. But so far, the Chinese have been trying to convince us that they are not that violent against the Uyghurs. But of course, you take up arms against the government, of course they are going to arrest you and punish you.